Oh, wait, sorry. What would you tell a husband whose wife has been sort of like on him? I want you to show me love in this way, or the wife just seems so not satisfied. He's on the receiving end of that, and he feels like no matter what he does, she's not satisfied, she doesn't feel loved. And what would you say to him?
I'll first let him know, I know you're trying your best. Because it's discouraging to hear from the one you love that you are trying all this and then it means nothing to them. It gets very discouraging and disappoints him, and it makes me feel like all that I do is wasted, per se, thrown out. And so I would say the first step I would talk, if I were to talk to him, I would encourage him, saying that I know you care. She may not know that or feel that, but I know you do. I think God knows that you are trying your best. And there are things you probably don't want to do. There are things that you probably don't feel like, or you don't have the capacity to think about, or you don't see it as valuable as her, like sitting down and talking to her. It's like you need to make a living for your wife. You care more about that and providing for them and your family. But this is something that your wife needs. She desires, and this is how she would feel loved. And so I would say if there are things that you don't want to do, the number one thing that could help you change your heart is God, and how God can, with prayer and communing with Him, that He will give you the desire, the power, and the opportunities to give what your wife is needing. And I think the other part is seeing that as a need. It's just like how you need money right now. You need, $5,000 more. It is a need for her. So whatever you're trying to make that happen, put in the same effort for your wife. Because that is what she needs. That is what your family needs. That's what your children needs. And that is as important, if not more. Because not what you think is needed is the only thing that is needed. We could be so caught up in what we think is the only way and the only solution to happiness, but we could be so off. So that's something I would tell him. And also that letting him know that he has the power to lead the conversation and lead your household where your wife will not nag you. It is a lot more, yes, she has a part to play and do, but you as the leader can lead in a way where she has no opportunity to make that, to nag. I think it is, you set the tone, you set the boundaries, you set what is acceptable in how others talk to you. Because in the end, a wife is not doing out of ill intentions. You would think, like, let's say if it was in the society, like workplace or something, like if your boss treats you in such a bad way and you set the boundaries and you try your best to set the tone and you are doing what you're supposed to and he still treats you very bad, it's his problem and you could leave him. You don't need to work there. You will find another job. You don't need to see him. But with a wife, it's different. You can't just leave her. But yet, at the same time, it is your wife. The relationship is not like you and your boss. You are tied to her for eternity. She has made a vow. You have made a vow. And also, she's not just doing it out of despite of just because she hates you. So there are reasons why she may do so. It could be childhood trauma. It could be her past experiences, insecurities, pains that she has gone through that has not been healed, triggers that are whatever for some reason she is triggered by you or circumstances.
Or it could also just be that he's not doing something that he's supposed to.
And he's not. And so what I'm saying is the underlying, sometimes for a husband, I think it may feel like she becomes your enemy. Like, does she think that I am this or that? Does she think, why is she treating me in such a bad way? And to him, that is just like saying to the wife, you don't care. Like, to him, that is a way of telling him that she doesn't love me anymore. Like, if I were to, when you're sick, if I were to just tell you exercise, get up, you need to move around, you don't feel loved.
True.
You feel like I don't care about your feelings. Just like that, he doesn't feel loved when you nag or when you are belittling him or putting him down or always telling him what is wrong with him.
And those might be legitimate things that, like, I genuinely may need. I legitimately may need to exercise. Like, you telling me that I may need to do that, but you telling me that doesn't.
Right. The things that needs to be changed might need to be changed.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, she doesn't. If she says this, she may do it out of care, but to him, it is not.
True.
So
That's true.
I think there is a way of communicating your desires without disrespecting him or putting him down. Just like if there is a way for a husband to speak to their wife of trying to help her by helping her feel that I care.
That's good.
Yeah. So the husband needs to realize that he is the leader. He can and he has the power to lead his wife in a way that she will not speak in such tones or ways. First of all, get your act together. What part of it is it truth? What is truth? Like, what are the factual parts? Have you not taken out the trash at the time that you should because you were playing games or watching sports?
Well, they're gonna come after you.
I mean,
it's true.
Don't even get me on some of the things that we do that are so embarrassing. If the whole world could watch us sometimes do what we do, you would not be able to go out in public and say that I'm a man, because it's so embarrassing. Little children just wanting to play, wanting to have fun, wanting to escape out of life because stress or whatever. And so there are things that are maybe factual that you have to separate your feelings from and say, this is right. Yes, I did not do that. I have failed my responsibility in what I said I would. I'm not keeping my word. So that part is more, I think it's easier to deal with because it's mechanical. It's like, okay, find the solutions. You know how to find solutions. Men always do try, there's problem solvers by nature. So it's like, okay, what can I do? What needs to be done? How can I make it so that I would make sure to be responsible in what I said I would do? So there's that part. Now, after that, you have to deal with the emotional part. Okay, why do I feel this way when she tells me? Now, is she stepping out of bounds by telling me this in such a way? Is she treating me like a child, yelling at me, shouting at me, and giving me ultimatums and threatening me with, I don't know, separation or whatever, like,
or sex.
Ooh, yeah.
So what does a man do in that case? Like, I was like, if you don't do this, I'm not going to X, Y. Like, if I was coming off to you in a disrespectful
I would say
way.
The factual thing needs to be addressed because she is definitely up in her feelings when she's saying that. I don't think a lot of the women mean what they say when they say that because they do love their husband. If they didn't, they would have left. The reason why husbands and wives keep going and working at it together and continue to do something, there's still a desire to make it work, right? So as long as there is a willingness, it can work out. And so if she says a lot of those things, remember that she oftentimes does not mean what she really says. She is heated right now. And so whatever is factual, I would apologize for those things, even though that may be very hard for our ego. And say, you are right. I have failed to do that. Will you forgive me? I said I would take out the trash at this time. I did not.
That's good. It's like you're saying, if what she's upset about is like a legitimate thing, even if she's acting in a particular way that may not be appropriate, without taking accountability for where you failed, it's almost like you don't have how would I say, it's not going to help to address how she's talking to you in that moment when you haven't taken accountability for what you failed in. It doesn't mean
like
that how she's speaking is acceptable, but for you to bypass, you said you would do something, you didn't, she's upset, and now you're like, don't talk to me this way because I'm your husband and you're not supposed to, is not going to work.
We always say leadership is by example, but oftentimes in these things, we pick and choose, right? We want to be a leader when it comes to finances and what to decide on and what to buy. We want to be a leader on what I need to eat or even decisions in general in life. But when it comes to something like this, like I like what you said. Show by example that you are taking responsibility of the things you failed, no matter what the other person is saying. So I lead in saying I am gonna be the example of showing that this is something I failed and I apologize. And now I'm sure if this is your first time ever doing that, she will be like, she would not understand what's going on. She's like, did something happen to my husband, or is this the right person?
It was so changed things.
Right. And so I think once that's addressed, she will be more in the right mind to receive what you have to say. And you might not have to say it right then and then. Oftentimes it's better not to, but which I have a problem with. But if you could say, after that you could say, and she will follow you. I think people think a lot of the women don't want to follow, maybe because of what they say in public, but a lot of women don't mind following the right person, right? So if you said, I apologize, and then you say,
or maybe you wouldn't even have to say, like, her own conscience would prick you.
True, that oftentimes is the case.
That's happened with us.
Again, they know what they're doing wrong. A lot of us know more than others and what we're doing wrong. So you were gonna say,
like, it's happened with us before. Like, I think there was that one time, like, I got really heated and I and I was like, I wasn't supposed to talk to you like that. Like, you didn't have to tell me that. Or when you responded in another way, when you said, babe, when you said that like that, it made me feel XYZ. I was like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have talked to you in that way. Sometimes you don't even have to address it. But by you taking that lead and taking responsibility, that itself is what convicts the person. Because we think we have to address the exact thing for them to see that how they're talking is not appropriate. Thank you.